I am Jo from Design with Jo, and today we are going to be playing with 5 different card layouts that you can make with patterned paper. And we're especially going to work with busy patterned paper, although not completely. So as you come on and watch, please say hello, let me know where you're watching from, and maybe give me a question. Make me make me work a little bit about maybe some of your challenges with patterned paper. So I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right place. It looks like I am. Make sure I have sound. I think I have sound, so I think things are working. Give me a thumbs up if things are working today. So I hope you are enjoying this series of Ink Paper Play Live. These are bite-sized ideas for your crafting toolkit. So remember that the project reveal is always at the end. So I'm showing you tips, techniques, things that you can really put into your everyday crafting so that it'll make things go faster, it'll make them more fun, and it'll make it just a little bit more interesting when you sit down at your in your stamp area. So thanks everybody for letting me know that you can hear me. Thanks Marilyn and Maggie and Judy. And hello, I see a hi there. Let me know if I'm not familiar with your name. Please put what your name is, what you like to be called. I do like to call people by name if I can. So there's not a lot of chatter in here. It really is a short and informational session, and I really want to get the goods out to you really quick. Okay, so today, does anybody let me know in the comments, do you have any patterned paper in your stash? If you're like me, I'm running out of space for my patterned paper. I have lots of 12 by 12, and I've even gotten rid of tons. So thanks, Maggie. I've gotten rid of tons over the years, but I still get more. And so it's time to start using that up, isn't it? So I'm going to give you a really quick look at what we're going to be working with today. That's your quick look. And then I'm going to share those at the end. Hi, Myrtle. Glad that you're here. So I'm hoping that this is going to work, and we are going to get to the other areas. I'm going to try turning off my screen and turning it up and then turning it back on. Okay, so fingers crossed that this is going to work, and we're going to get started right away. So turn that off. Okay, I am still here in case you're wondering if it's gone all black. That is the intent. I have to get on my little stool here. There we go. And I'm looking at the ceiling. Here we are. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in for you. Hopefully get a really good screen image. Now, can you see that? You can see my fingers probably fine. We are cooking with gas today. Yay. Okay, so here we go. This is the first one and the simplest one. So, well, maybe not the simplest. So how many of you have sheets like this in your pattern paper where some of it is printed, some of it is not. Sometimes you see it coming in from the corner, the design. Sometimes you see it along the bottom. But generally there is a spot in it that is easier. You can see where you can maybe do some stamping. So this is the piece we're going to work from today. This is the Nests of Winter, in case you're wondering. And I have cut my piece. So I'm going to tell you all the measurements that we're going to be using. So the first piece that I have is 4 by 5. It is a fairly, not really standard. Normally we cut everything to be 4 by 5 1/4. But what we're going to be doing is using a piece of our cardstock in behind as a mat. And I've cut this one to be 4 1/4 by 5. Now all of these measurements will be on my blog on Monday so that you can see them. So what we're going to do with this one is I am going to tear an edge. So you can see up here I have a space I can stamp, I have a space I can stamp. So you always want to pick what your words are, what you want to put on as a sentiment. Okay, so Myrtle has too much pattern paper. Yes, and if you have this pack, this is a good way to use it, Maggie. So I'm going to tear along this edge. I could tear along this edge, but then I'm taking up this space. So the stamp that I've chosen is this Just For You, which is out of the traditional labels. And I could, I suppose, stick it over there and it would fit here. Maybe I will. I'm going to do this one opposite to the one I have in my sample, again, which are at the end. So I'm going to tear this edge down. And when you tear, you're going to hold in your dominant hand, for me that's right, and you're going to tear towards you because you want this nice little bit of white showing. So you can tear all in one. When I'm only tearing a little bit of the strip, I don't tear really fast, okay? So I've got that. Now I'm going to also tear my brown. Now we're going to put this on with a tiny little bit of a mat. And so I'm just holding that there now. And if it tears, I don't want it to be exactly the same as my pattern paper. I want it to be different. So sometimes if you have a little oops, or if you stamp onto your patterned paper in advance, maybe you want to tear that off. This is the time to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue. Whoops, if I can find it here. Take some glue and I'm going to put that down onto my paper. Don't put down onto my glass mat. Put it down on my paper. And this is the same height as the cardstock. So I just want a tiny little border there. So just tiny, tiny little border. And then you can stamp your image here and you're going to put that on your card. Okay, I didn't even pull out a card here, but let's pretend that it's going on this one. Nope, this is the wrong size. I thought I did have one here. Let's pretend it's going on this one here, okay? I probably would put it on white or I'd put it onto blueberry bushel. So that's our first template, okay? So the sizes again will be on my blog and I'll put them in the description below. Then the second one, what if you have some really busy paper, big images on it like this one from the Painterly Pears. So this one here, there's no room to stamp, right? So what we want to do is we do want to cut this one down, and this is a great example of cutting it down into the standard size we use all the time. So the standard size that we tend to use is 4 by 5 1/4. So that's exactly the size that I have here, 4 by 5 1/4. And all you're going to do is you are going to glue that right down on top. But now what we need to do is we need to figure out how do we get our sentiment to show up on here. 2 different ways. One is that we just go for white. So we pick white. White usually, or vanilla, maybe even beige, would go beautifully with most of the pattern papers you have. You are going to cover up just a little bit of that paper. So decide where you want to cover it up. So you might want to cover it up over here because you really like that piece. You might want to cover it up here. You might want to just cover it up in the middle so that you can see all of these pieces. So white is a really good thing to go with. A die, a punch. You can also just punch out a piece of cardstock. So this one here is just a punch. I'm sure that you probably have more than one label punch. I'm thinking, how many of you have label punches? Maybe you could put it over top of a circle. So what you want to do is you want to stamp your words on top of something like a label or a punched out image, okay? And then you can embellish, which is what I've done with the card we're going to do. So that's number 2, plain, simple. You can cut those ones down really easy. Here's another idea for really busy paper. So this piece here is out of the Perennial Lavender. Anybody have this particular one? This is beautiful. This one has the purples, it's got Blackberry Bliss, and there's a little bit of the shaded spruce in there too. So this is another super busy one where it makes it really difficult to stamp on and have your words pop out. In fact, I wouldn't even try to stamp on this. So I've cut this one down by a different size. So this size here is, oh, I didn't write it down. Well, that wasn't smart. This size here is a 5, so it's 3 3/4 by 5. So a little bit smaller than the other one we have. And that's because we are going to mat it onto a piece of coordinating cardstock. But before we do that, we are going to do something different. Okay, so Anybody have any vellum in their stash of paper? We have vellum again, and I'm very, very happy about that. So this is just an offcut of vellum that I have. So this is a little heavier piece. So our vellum is not completely see-through. It is, but it's opaque. And what you're going to do is you are just going to stamp on here, but you're going to emboss it with clear. Okay, so that's what I've done here, but I want to show you something first. So what's great about vellum is that you can just fold it over the edge. That's why my piece is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to fold it. Now, my first fold, I want to be as even as possible, meaning that I want it to line up right against the edge. So what I do is I make sure that I've completely lined up my piece there, and I give it a nice crisp edge. And this, because it's sort of a plasticky paper, is going to fold right into the edge there. And then the next one, well, this one is nice and tight, make it nice and tight, you're just going to fold over that one as well and give it a nice crisp edge. You can pull in your bone folder here to give you a hand if you like. It's going to sit almost perfectly on that paper and be would give a little bit of adhesive on the back here just to make sure it is tight, but that's what I would do. Now let me take the piece I already have embossed. So this is just the Blackberry Bliss embossed, and the really cool thing about vellum is you don't need to use a Versamark. You can just use your stamp pad directly on top of your vellum and powder. So it really does show up. It shows up because of the color, and it shows up because you have taken away some of that boldness by putting that opaque on there. Anybody tried that before as an idea? And then what you're going to do is you're going to stick that on top of a coordinating color and put that on top of your card. Okay, just like that. The next one, so we are more than half done already. So the next one is going to use a scenery type of paper. And this one here is the Thoughtful Journey paper, and there's lots of scenes in here. Now there's lots of our paper lately that have different scenes on them. So I'll bet you have some in your stash, and feel free to go ahead and tell me the names of the ones you have in your stash. Maybe it even is Thoughtful Journey. And the one that I think I cut out was this one right here. So I wanted to go with a little different color. But what we're going to do with this one is we are going to cut it down and we're going to mount it on another piece of designer paper. So the size that you want to cut it down to, well, first of all, let me pull out the other paper. So the other paper we're going to use, you probably have some paper that is a little bit more generic in the backgrounds, or a little softer perhaps. Maybe you have some that have a wood grain finish to them. These ones here are the wood textures. So there are 4 different designs in here. So these are 4. So they are natural toned kind of textures, linen and what is this? Somebody help me out. This is rattan, that's what that is, burlap. And then you turn them over and you've got some different colors and some different ones again, so more straw ones. So these are great for this kind of card, what we're going to do on this one. So I have already cut out the paper I'm going to use, so I've cut this one down. So your measurements on this one, your scene piece is going to be a little bit smaller, 3 by 5 1/8, and your background piece is going to be 3 5/8 by 5 3/8. And with these ones like this, some of them have room where you can stamp directly on them, or you can put it onto a label, you can put it onto, what else could you put it on? A banner, anything that you want, and then you're just going to put that onto your card. And it's going to be either centered. Here's where you have a choice. You can either center it right onto the card, or you can offset it on either side. Okay, so you have created a bit of a frame for that piece of paper. Okay, and then you can embellish as you like. So I've done this one, I have two. I have this one done, and then I have more of a masculine one that I've got as an example for you. And now let's do maybe a Christmassy type one. So this paper here, also fairly busy, a little bit smaller design. This is the Elegant Pine Snowflakes. And again, you can't stamp on this. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut a smaller piece again. With this guy here, what you're going to do is you're going to cut the busy into 3 1/8 by 4 7/8. And again, all the measurements are going to be on my blog on Monday and in the description. So you're cutting it down a little bit smaller. So what are we going to do with this one? With this one, what we're going to do is we are going to cut it. And we're going to do one simple little cut. So all we've done so far is really cut straight. We've torn an edge, but now we're going to do one different cut. We're going to do a diagonal cut. The easiest way for me to think about doing a diagonal cut is to put one end. So we're going to go this way. We could go either way with this design, I suppose. We're going to put this pointy end right in the channel. And let me just pull that up and show you. Okay, so here's our channel, and we're going to put the pointy end here. Now the trick to this is that we have to get the bottom end also in that channel, the bottom point. So you're going to line it up. Now before you cut, make sure that first one didn't move. Mine did. So I'm going to move that back in, make sure it's right in the center, and make sure this one's right in the center. Then hold it in place, close your guide. I'm still holding it, and then you're just going to cut. Okay, so we've got two pieces now. So you could use this actually on 2 cards, but that's not what we're going to do. We're going to use it on 1 card. So I've got a piece of basic white cardstock here, and this mat is a little bit bigger. It's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we are just going to glue this down, leaving just a little border. So you want to glue it down in both edge to edge. Does that make sense? Edge to edge, so that you have a nice line in the middle that you can put a long greeting in. And then what you're going to do is you are either going to put it onto your card. Well, let me pick it up if I can. Well, my fingers aren't working. You're going to put it onto your card, and you can embellish as you want. But it's a great way for you just to design straight in the middle. Okay, who's ready to see what these actual cards are? Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite template or layout so far. Is it the diagonal? Is it the torn edge? Is it the 2 pattern paper one? Because we're going to get to all of them right now. And I'm going to do them in order. So this is the first one. So this is how I embellished the first one. Very simple. Just stamped on it and then just put a rhinestone on the end of the T. Okay, so super simple. The one that I did today would of course go this way, and a different color choice too. So there's that one. This here is that super busy one. So now for super busy, what I did is I picked a color here. So this is the crushed curry, and I thought it was right in here in these flowers in the center, and I embossed on it. So it's gold embossing on there. Now I didn't want to busy up this anymore, but so I just used gold. So I just used gold for my die cuts, and then just a simple dot as well. And this is on Secret C. So pretty simple. I'm going to pull these all back in later. Now for this one, because I had words that were a little bit bigger than that one that I had first, I had a bigger piece of vellum. And again, this was just in my scraps. So super simple. You don't need to really design this up very much. And you can see, I'm hoping you can get the shine off of that vellum. Now be careful when you're heating it that it doesn't warp. You might need to put it underneath a book, maybe to flatten it out just a little bit more. Okay, now here's two. So this is the one that I did. So a nice light, this would be great even for a sympathy card. This is a thank you card, but it could be really for anything. And then this is one that I did with a little bit more embellishment for a masculine card. So this paper here is the, what is it called? It's in our catalog, and I think that it is, anybody know what that paper is called? Put it into the comments if you can, because it's just escaped me right now. And this also is 6x6 paper, but it is the back of this linen paper. So I wanted to show you what the two looks like. Two totally different looks depending on the scene card that you're using. So there's that. And then the last one, I chose the dark paper out of that same package and did the exact same cut, and I embossed white onto dark. So instead of just stamping, I did a little bit of white embossing, and I also white embossed onto vellum for that snowflake. So which one is your favorite? Let me put them in order. First one, second one, third one maybe are your favorites. So these guys, I'm going to try and get them all on screen here. And then these ones are the same basically, and this guy here. So if you like these type of ideas, if you like the short and sweet and get to the goods, then subscribe please to my YouTube channel. And also if you want to get notifications, what you can do is just email me at joe@designwithjoe.ca, and I will get you on to the notification list so you always know when I'm going live, which is Wednesdays at 12 noon Mountain Time. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy these, and I would love to see you make some of these. If you do, share them on social media and put #InkPaperPlayLive, and I would love to see them too. Thanks everybody. We will see you again next week.